Financial and emotional intelligence, there is a link. And I know that well because for the past 40 years, I've mixed this thing together. So the first outlook is most people think a bit selfish when they get into business. It's a bit of a me, how can I take advantage of a situation? They don't think win-win. That doesn't take you far. It might get you from A to B, it doesn't get you home. Putting good money after bad money, that's, again, emotional investing. You've done something that is failed, is not doing well. You keep throwing money at it in the hope that this will be good. It's like investing in a bad, toxic relationship. You just hope for better. Spend time, it's not going to go anywhere. So don't spend good money after bad money. My lesson in Canada. And then we come from a highly emotional society, so friendships are important, handshakes are important, family is important. Your cousin is a crook, wants money, you give him money because it's my cousin. So you really need to audit your emotions, and you need to audit how you go and invest. And forget the past. Like don't just continue living in the past. Fact check. People come with amazing proposals. I have this idea, I've got this application, I've got this real estate investment. And you trust people before doing a complete due diligence. Do your due diligence. That's a big, big no-no and a good cause of failure. When you haven't checked your facts, you walk into a trap, and then you wake up one day and realize, oh my God, I should have really gone to a lawyer, checked my contract, signed a piece of paper that I read. How many people don't read paper when they sign? An immigration consultant puts a paper in front of you, just sign it. Begin to read documentation in Canada where you don't understand them, seek advice. Know your financial and emotional limits. If your limit is $100,000 and behind $100,000 you're going to ruin your life and your wife's life and your son's future, don't venture into places that you cannot sleep well and afford. That's another thing, especially for newcomers, I see so many of these things that people have purchased a property they couldn't afford. And then that puts so much pressure on them that they start not to becoming a functional, productive member of the society because that anxiety slows you down. Anxiety takes energy. That energy should not be wasted on mistakes. And sometimes you need to let go, even in business. Dealing with financial losses. I don't know how many of you ever had a bad finance that you went home and you couldn't sleep for 2 days. Anybody here? It's a bad feeling. It really puts you into a mood that I cannot describe. And I see a lot of that in my clients because they made a bad decision and they cannot live with it. You need to learn coping mechanism. Again, I'm not going to get too much into it, but you need your network. You need people that you could consult. You need plan Bs. Finally, in this topic, never give up. It doesn't matter how bad today is in business, and once you're here new in Canada, just keep on, but smartly. You learn from your mistakes. That doesn't slow you down. But don't give up, because the minute you give up, you lost the game. Next. Okay. So in one of my lendings, I lent to a public company. They had medical clinics and they were in cannabis business. And a few years ago, cannabis was big in Canada. Companies were just doing amazing. Some of these companies are now bankrupt. So if you invested in any of them, most of them, your shares you're lucky if it's 1/10 of its original value. So I lent money into a series of medical clinics that was in the cannabis. The company went public at $50 million. Raised quite a few $1,000,000 for the startups that are thinking big and want to go to the public and raise money, like, a good example. So they sold a really nice story. And normally they sell a nice story. It's like our good prophets, heaven, you go there, good things happen, do this, that. So they sell a good story, but it's really hard to deliver. So they went into financial crisis. We looked at the foundations and the fundamentals of the company. It looked good. We lent them money. Bad events happen, and we had to take over the company. They are beginning to enter mental health. And this is something in Canada that is a growing industry, because people need help. And before that, mental health, it was not recognized as a ailment. I still don't think it's really an illness, because you could correct it and you could really improve it. Physically now, medical clinics, they could do your MRI, you can prescribe medicine, do surgery. Little people are working on the mind and mental health, and I think that's crucial for success in any business. If a business owner, an entrepreneur doesn't have a good mindset, you fail before you begin. That's my opinion. And you don't enjoy the journey. If your mindset is not proper, if your anxiety, if your lifestyle doesn't promote that extra energy you need as an entrepreneur, and in the beginning you need a lot of energy. And if that's wasted elsewhere, you're not successful. So why do you need to be happy? Generally, very quickly, because happiness helps you in three main categories. It's your social rewards: marriage, friendship, relationship. If you're happy, you translate that happiness into relationships. You get feedback from those relationships. Work outcome. When you're happy, you're more creative, you're more forceful. That improves your output in a business. And again, as an entrepreneur, when you greet your customers with a smile, when you portray that energy, that happiness translates into better work outcome, including your teammates. And personal benefits. Health. When you're happy, your immune system works better. You're prone to better balance. You're prone to better style of life. So, hey, don't deny yourself happiness. It's out there. It's free. Next. All right, some more reasons. The thing I like about happiness is it doesn't cost you money, and it's a zero-sum game. That means that if I am happy, I'm not taking away from your happiness. And it's contagious. You translate happiness into people. When you're happy and you walk into a room, you're happy, you're in a relationship, that happiness gets translated. I put a saying from Buddha, and I really like it. Literally, one person could change the life of many people with positive energy, because you never know who could use that little positive energy as a boost, because they might be that day not in a good mood. A little smile, a little compliment, something positive, going to make them feel a little bit better. Just imagine you're helping somebody feel a little bit better. Is that a bad thing? Are you willing to do it? Make it a practice in life. Lesson of this is you are responsible for your happiness. It's not your mom, it's not your partner, it's not your boss. You're in charge of it. So go find out what makes you happy, the trigger points that stop you from making happy, and work on it. This awareness is important, and people need to spend time on themselves. So take it as a personal mandate, a personal responsibility. And I'll come back to this a little bit later as well. So when I initially came, that was my main topic. It's not so much about a strategy, it's about making a strategy work. And I owe this whole concept to a Professor Roberts, which passed away. He was when I was doing my doctorate, he was my professor at Edinburgh Business School, an amazing man. And he said, don't worry too much about a strategy. Think about, could you make that work? Because we could all come up with amazing stories, the startup ideas, inventions. A lot of people fail to make them work because you need a system, a process of thinking. I'm going to give you a little bit of break. I'm going to go to the last slide. I think is maybe not a bad time to show it. So you wake up a little bit, and then I carry on because that topic is important. But one question, how many people here play poker? Oh my God, really? So how do you spend your spare time? What do you do? I'm sure you're not, you don't, chess. Oh, that's boring. Don't worry, I'm not doing surgery here. I was at the resort and we're teaching how to mix drinks. So.
Hello. Coming to you from Cascais in Portugal, near a casino, and I thought it's a great opportunity to discuss lessons that I have learned in life from playing poker and vice versa, lessons that poker has taught me about life. Well, it's not really simple and it hasn't come cheaply to me. It's almost 40 years of experience I'm sharing with you, and it hasn't been cheap, I could tell you that much. But I tell you as well, it's been fun and it's been exciting. Poker is becoming very popular nowadays. It's crossing boundaries, it's crossing age barriers, religion, gender. Like there's so many wonderful ladies that now play this game. And I think partly it's because it reflects so much the attitude and the characteristics that we have in life, all combined in a very exciting short intervals, rather than spending 80 years to experience all this excitement, anxiety, and drama. You could do it in a very short few hours with your friends, with your enemies, or with people you don't know, whether it's the setting is online or it's in your house or in a casino. First thing I want to discuss in respect with poker is the process of decision making. Challenges in life, how things are progressing, and the speed of life is all reflected in this game. Circumstances in poker change very rapidly. Your delta hands, you have no idea what the cards are till you look at it. You have no idea what the cards that other people hold are till there is an opportunity to see those cards, typically at the end of the game. So the process of decision making begins even before the cards are dealt. The decision of how much money you have, how much risk you want to take, how much you want to win, and how you're going to play the game. Your emotions are involved, your budget is involved, and your experience is involved, as well as other people on the table that play with you. Again, so much like life. You're dealt a hand that you had no choice with, and then as events turn out, whether you like it or you don't like it, you have to make decisions of how to react to those decisions or to those events actually by correct decisions. Poker becomes a game of math, statistics, managing emotional, and at the end, a process of quick, accurate decision making. So how do you begin the process of decision making? First of all, I think the fact that how you evaluate yourself, your expertise, and your abilities becomes an issue. So if you're not an expert and you're dealing and playing with experts in the field, I definitely suggest a very cautious decision-making process. If you don't have a lot of money in front of you, also, I suggest you take a very slow and cautious process and play only with the best of your hand. Same in your life. If you're in a position that you cannot risk, both financially, emotionally, it's better to take a more or less risk-averse route to meet your goals and objectives.
Okay, so playing poker in life, like for people who don't play poker, poker is a process of evaluation. So you need to evaluate your own hand. You need to look around and figure out what other people, potentially have in their hand. Read them, act upon that, and try not to be emotional. Same as business. You need to know your capabilities. What am I good for? The environment. Is that environment helping me with my hand, with my limitations, with my abilities? And how am I going to process this information? Normally, you need to process it rather quickly. You can't wait 3 years because this technology is scary. The way things are going, you need to be on top of it. So I'm going to start with a few ideas on making a strategy work, but more importantly, there is a chart, because I think if we, like poker, act systematically. So if you have 2 and a 7, you don't want to bet. If you have a low hand, you want to fold. And if you have a really strong hand, you want to maximize it, you want to bet. But all the time, you have to be aware of what other people are doing. So if you're opening a bakery, if the neighborhood is Jewish, well, you better do kosher, because you don't want to do necessarily halal in a Jewish neighborhood. And also, if next door is opening a bakery that she's trained in France and is fancy, you need to change your game very quickly. Newcomers to Canada, they get excited because I don't think a lot of them have seen bad times here, same as when we came. And they go to low barrier entry businesses, restaurants, things that are simple. They don't align their talents, they don't do a good market research, and a lot of times rightfully because they have limited finances, limited network, limited knowledge. So that educating yourself to do the right things with your capability is key. Just to start to say no to the things that might sound good, but they're not really aligned and you cannot put your energy behind it. There are other people out there. It's scary in education. I have to share some good news with you. 2 nights ago, I was having dinner with my daughter. She started screaming, ah! And I thought something bit her or something, She said, Dad, I got into dentistry. You know how hard it is? Like the anxiety of the students to get to a good school? Like, I feel sorry. My time was easy. I did engineering and, I got accepted to, almost everywhere I applied. And that was easy. Nowadays, to make it anywhere, you need to be really good. And if you're not good and aligned with your talents, good luck. If that passion, that expertise, and you're not updating yourself quickly, and that's my advice. I did immigration for, by the way, 30 years. I think I brought 2,500 families, maybe more, to Canada. I gave up, I closed that business a long time ago. But most thing I noticed people that they didn't do well, they brought the wrong mentality into a different market. You need to find out where you are, what you could do, and maximize there. So I'm going to talk a little bit about making a strategies work. So the couple of, I'm trying to be fast so you get home and then, don't fall asleep on me. So there is a process, and like anything else, if you follow a process, yes, there's a chance of failure. But the chances of success are more because you're going to tick more boxes. This you don't need to know really. What is the strategy? Is positioning yourself properly. It's what I want to mention here about consistency versus flexibility. When you go to a business, from the onset of the business, you need to know whether you are cost or differentiated. If you're cost, then your point of entry is being more cost efficient than your neighbor. If you're differentiated, then your services matters and how you deliver those services. That's the biggest distinction, I think, that for a strategy people, especially a small entrepreneurs, need to know. Also, your financial predictions. Are you in it for long? Like, do you have enough money to sustain this for 4 years before it's profitable? A lot of businesses, like if you're going to do a pistachio farm, you better have enough money for 5 years before your first crop is there and you make money. So you make that decision very quickly. What resources are available to you? So your financials, are they short-term or long-term? And again, flexibility. Some businesses require flexibility. Like again, a practice of immigration, things change. I had a big practice in Dubai and all I did was skilled workers. And I did 30 cases, 35 cases a month of skilled workers at $5,000 US a piece. I processed them in London, took 4 months, maybe 5 months. So I was printing money. One day I woke up, they closed that category altogether. 0. I had 9 staff. I had offices in Bahrain, in Bangladesh. 0. So I had to start all over again, pay people back. Some people in immigration now don't like to pay people back. Back then we had to pay people back. So are you making allowance for change in your business? Like, is it possible that a quick change come? And technology nowadays, as I'm saying, is really getting scary. I was at a seminar downtown at the TD Bank, and they brought a gentleman who was the head of, he was actually the chairman of the committee who allocated TD's assets worldwide. He said he's done a survey with 1,000 top executives, and they asked them, what is their most worry? What are you worried about? It wasn't Putin, it wasn't Ukraine, it wasn't the conflict in the Middle East, it wasn't oil prices, it wasn't inflation, it wasn't interest rate. Imagine what it was. Technology, specifically AI. Like the largest or one of the largest banks in Canada is telling us that most people are worried about how technology will going to impact their life and business. And that's next 5 years. This is not 20 years from now. So be careful how technology could impact it. You heard about mission so much. Everybody talks about it. Mission, objectives, vision. I just want to tell you one thing. If what you do is not aligned with your passion and interest, you might become successful, you never be a star. So that's just one advice I give you. When you want to write your mission statement, really spend a day or two, think about it. Make sure that you're bringing your best into this mission statement. Mission statement should be reflective of your character. If somebody talks to you for half an hour, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, they should walk away with your idea and your mission. Forget paper, go become aware of what you're capable of and align it with your business. That is a guarantee that even if you fail, you've had a good time in it. This I love about the Star Trek. I don't know, the younger people don't know about this. How many people have watched Star Trek? Okay. So that's their mission statement. They want to go where the life is unknown and then, challenge. So you need a bit of that in your life. Like if things are really boring, sooner than later, that energy is not going to translate anywhere and they're going to die in you as well. So make sure that passion for what you do, and I emphasize that so much because it's not a business plan idea, it's not textbook, it's really life experience. Whenever I went to a venture that I was passionate about, I convinced my employees, I convinced my stakeholders, I raised money for it because I had that passion for it and people felt it. So a business plan on a piece of paper to a bank manager, do you think they really care? I mean, they see so many of it. So put your energy, that high octane should be in the mission statement and in the way you present it so people could feel for it. Oh, okay. I'm going to cut this presentation a little bit shorter because the essence of this little circle is called SWOT analysis. How many people know about this? Okay, most people do. This is your Bible in business and in life. So continuously, you need to map and explore your strength, your weakness, the threats and opportunities everywhere in partnerships, marriage, dealing with your kids, finances, your staff. What happens if your staff, the key staff leaves the company? What happens if you don't get that loan? On yourself, what happens if you have a critical ailment and then you're diagnosed with something? How do you handle these things? So continuously go through this SWOT analysis on anything. I think before you sleep at night, you should do a little SWOT analysis for what happened during the day. What I did right, what I did wrong, what I could change, where I didn't maximize my potential, and where I failed. Do this. This is a Bible of waking up, sleeping, in business, in relationship, continuously, because that makes you aware of your potentials, your limitations, they call it, the enablers that would need to be recognized first by yourself. Some a few things, again, that you need to look at, I guess, going through any kind of business. What I really like is risk mitigation. If something happens, have you thought about the risk of it and how big and significant that risk is? That especially is true in partnership and with finances. If that loan doesn't come through, if COVID hits, do you have a secondary plan? That's important in any business. So do your SWOT analysis on yourself and on your business and think about the most important item in the business that is risky and you need to keep an eye every day on it. If you're in a partnership, if the partner dies, the partner changes his mind, what are your resources or recourses at that point? I have 2 minutes, so I'm just going to talk about this. When you're doing your analysis on SWOT, 2 types of environment you need to scan, internal and external, continuously. So external is what you don't have a choice. It's the inflation, it's the government policies, it's competition from overseas, technology. These you don't have to control and don't really worry too much about it. Think about it. The other thing is internal. internal environment is where you have a say. So you could plan it, you could look at it, you could adjust it, especially in dealing with the right people. The biggest failure, in my opinion, in businesses is when they don't have the right human resources, when the right people are not in that organization. So you expand and you cannot address, you cannot keep the quality. A lot of people go to restaurants, first month, 2 months, they're happy. The third month, the quality fails because they didn't get the right staff, they were too busy, and the system didn't allow them to expand. Okay, they tell me my time is finished, so I hope I've been of a bit of use, and I'll be more than happy to share anything, anytime. I don't know if I need to answer any questions, but I'm available if there is questions. I've been in Canada for a little more than 40 years, and I've been through many different businesses. My advice is, this is a good country, not the best country for business, I admit, but this is a good country because it's given us a platform and a place to call home. Don't give up. It's cold, I know, out there. There's miserable days. It's hard to get oriented. It takes a little bit of time. Don't give up. Stick with it, but have a system. Our culture is a little bit emotional, a little bit systemless. You wake up every morning, okay, what to do today? Forget that. Here, get to know yourself, get to know your abilities, get to know the possibilities, find something you're passionate about, put in 200%, and don't give up. Thank you for listening.